Good.
It was
How-
good.
Great. I'm glad to hear. I think that we have some new faces today. So would everyone like to reintroduce themselves to the class?
Yes. So Andrea, would you go first?
Hello, Teacher Jimmy. Hello, everyone. Okay, I'm a master student of Department of Education, and I would like to be a teacher in the future. And why I would like to take this course because I want to learn how to talk in front of group of people and try to punch the fear in the face and know more, learn more technique, how to speak in the public. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, Trista, would you go next? Trista, can you hear me? All right, take your time. We will come back to you. Amy, Yuxian.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amy, and I'm Providence University student, and my major is accounting. And I come here to learn public speaking because I want to improve this skill. Thank you.
All right, great.
Okay, Trista, could you unmute? You are still muted. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, Jimmy, let's just get started.
All right. So last week we left off with the types of speech worksheet. So we'd gone over lesson two, and we decided that we weren't going to do the types of speech worksheet together, and we'd rather do that separately. So I guess we'll go over that and make sure that everyone has the right kind of answers. So who has the answer to number one? So this is on page 6 of the packet for lesson 2.
Yeah. Jimmy, I think you can call on their names.
Sure. Doris, do you have the answer to number one?
I think the first question number one is a kind of debate. So I will go for persuasive speech.
Great. Yeah, that's. I think that's definitely. I think it's definitely persuasive speech. Number two, how about Lily?
Okay, I think it's like an announcement, so I will go for informative speech.
So I think number two is still trying to make an argument about learning a foreign language. So it looks like it's persuasive speech to me.
Yeah, I didn't see it should not, or if I say every student should learn a foreign language, I think is that maybe like an announcement. It will be on the bullet board, so every student should learn a language, like a foreign department, yeah, announcement. Sorry.
All right, that's okay. Number three, Amy, would you like to go?
Okay, I think the number 3 question is persuasive speech.
Yeah, great. I think it's persuasive speech too. You know, you're again making an argument about something. Next, for number 4, Claire.
I think number 4 is informative speech.
Yeah, it's they're not making an argument or anything. They're just talking about the product. So I think that it's informative as well. And number 5, I think we have 2 Amy's in here. So the other one. Is there something else I should call you to make it less confusing?
Amy Chan 哎，玉轩，你有做作业吗？
在哪里？
Oh, okay, so this is her first time, so we call on her next time, okay?
Oh, okay. Okay, so number 5, I guess I could just answer that one. It is, oh, excuse me. That's an informative speech as well. You're really just talking about something factual. So for number 6, we can go back to Lily.
Okay, I think it's a ceremonial speech.
Good. Yeah, it is ceremonial speech. Yeah, that's kind of speech usually a little funnier. There's jokes in it, that sort of thing. Next, number 7, we're going to go to Doris.
Number 7, I think, is informative speech.
Good. Yeah, it sounds like it's an informative speech to me too. Number 8, Claire.
I think number 8 is ceremonial speech.
Yeah. Good. I think it's ceremonial speech as well. Let's see. Number 9, Andrea, would you like to go?
I think it's persuasive speech.
I think that it's persuasive speech is a good guess, but I think that it's ceremonial speech. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with the word eulogy, but that's basically a speech that you give at somebody's funeral. Talking about like your memories of them and about that person. So it's I think that it's definitely ceremonial speech. And number 10, we'll go to Lily again.
Okay, I think it's a ceremonial speech.
Good. Yeah, it is ceremonial speech. That was a good answer. Thanks. All right. You guys did really well with that. So I think you guys are making good progress in the class, and you're definitely absorbing some of the material. We stumbled on a couple of them, but overall it's pretty good. So we'll get right into our 3rd lesson, which is about body language. Personally, body language is one of my kind of favorite parts of public speaking, just because I can use it to my advantage pretty well. I'm kind of a bigger person, so I can use body language to get people to pay attention to me a little more often. But you don't have to be big to get that to work for you. So it's really important when giving a speech to have proper body language. So you don't want to, sit up flat, like really get yourself to take up space in the room, and you don't want to kind of talk like this with your head looking down. You want to look at somebody, project your voice. So like getting into the lesson, body language is very important when giving a speech, and it's one of the main factors that makes public speaking different from reading or even just conversational speaking. Because in a conversation, generally you'll know whoever you're talking to, but public speaking, you have to use your body to make an impression. Your body is probably one of the most important communication tools that you have. You can do all sorts of different things with it. The main goal that you want to have is to effectively communicate information to your audience and to make sure that they understand what you're saying. So being able to position yourself and use the right hand gestures and body language will make it easier for people to understand. I'm sure the teachers in the class, understand body language a lot. Body language and classroom body language are really big parts of the American education system for teachers. I'm not sure what your guys' education was like and if you took a class on that, but in the US, all the teachers have to take like a classroom management, like a classroom posturing course. So the proper use of body language will give the speaker a better presence among the audience, and it helps to attract more attention to the speaker. Studies have shown that about 45% of human communication is based on body language alone. And voice projection consists of 38%, while the actual words spoken only matter 7% to the audience. So this is kind of what I've been talking about earlier. When I said that the way that you present yourself and the way that you talk are going to be a lot more important to somebody listening to you than kind of what you're saying. So what I mean by that is that the way that you present yourself will get people to listen to your words more. You can only do so much by, kind of making your arguments interesting, but making your body language interesting will get people to pay attention to you a lot more. So the next part of the lesson is everyday examples of body language. So it has a little, mock 2-line conversation. So Sandy asks Bob, "Are you having a good day?" Bob answers yes while shaking his head. So can you guys think of any other examples of body language that you use every day? So I'm looking for probably 2 or 3 examples. So we'll start with Amy, if you'd like to go. You can give me an example of body language that you use every day. Go ahead.
I think she froze.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. I think I will use gesture to talk to others and help them to know me what I am saying.
Sorry, your sound cut out a little bit there. Could you repeat that, please?
Oh, okay. I think I will use gesture to make others know me better what I'm saying now.
Yeah, that's really what you want to do for body language, is use gestures. Does anybody else have an example of body language that you use every day? If we're having trouble, I could kind of explain. Yeah, go ahead.
I think body language, like you wave your hand to get attention, or you want to emphasize something, you will do like a quotation mark. Is that like body language?
Sort of. So we're going to cover like gestures later in the lesson. So those would definitely count as gestures. But kind of body language that you do every day is if you went out to go buy a cup of coffee in the morning, like smiling at the cashier as you pay would be an example of body language. You're just presenting yourself as friendly and like a good customer. Or let me think. When Well, I'm actually having a hard time coming up with another example, but I think that we got enough through that section. So in the text example, Bob's answer verbally confirms his good day, but shaking his head yes conveys a different meaning. So actually, so the text actually is covering if Bob was having a day, like a bad day. So this is kind of an example of different colloquialisms in the United States. Yeah, I got a little bit confused here when I was reading the lesson before we started. I didn't read this paragraph too carefully. So where in my part of the country, shaking your head could mean like this or like this, but in other parts of the country, this is shaking and this is nodding. And I interpreted shaking as up and down. But so we could pretend that Bob answered, yes, I'm having a good day, which seems pretty unnatural to me. But so in this example, Bob said yes, but he said with his body no, and Sandy is unsure what he actually meant. Bob's facial expression is also really important. So if he had a sad tone in his voice or if he was frowning when he said it, then Sandy could get more information from what he's talking about. And this shows the importance of having an effective body language. So if Bob actually did have a good day, sorry, I didn't see that. So we have a question from Vicky. How about telling a secret to other people and hoping that only he and she can hear what the speaker says? I'm not sure that that's really an example of body language, if that's what the answer to the question was, or if that's what the question you're answering was. But it body language is more something that you do while projecting your voice rather than just kind of whispering. But back to what we were talking about. If Bob had been clearer and if he hadn't shook his head no while saying yes, then it would have been much more clear to Sandy, what he actually felt. And this can happen in a lot more complex ways. So, sorry, I was checking my notes there, but this can happen in, it can have a lot more effects on your daily life than you would actually think. So imagine that you're a business person and you're trying to make a sales pitch to your boss or to an investor. And the words that you're saying are projecting confidence that you think that you have a good product or that you think that they should invest in your company. But your body language is kind of small and you look like you're nervous and you don't look 100% sure of yourself. Then it's going to be pretty confusing to the people who you're talking to what your actual intentions are and what you actually believe. So you really need to make sure that your body language aligns with what you're saying. And to make sure that we're doing this, we're going to now look at the 5 different components of body language. Starting with number 1, facial expressions. Audience members depend on the facial expressions to understand the meaning of what you're saying and of what you're speaking about, and which can make their understanding easier and better. In the previous example, Bob's facial expression played a vital role for anyone to understand what he was truly meaning. When he said that he was having a good day with a sad facial expression, it actually meant that he was not having a good day. So being able to use your facial expressions to confirm what you're saying and to counteract what you're saying is really important. To confirm what you're saying will get somebody to believe you more, and to kind of counteract what you're saying is really important for sarcasm and figurative speech. So next we move to tone of voice, and tone of voice besides body position is like my second favorite of all of these, of the 5 parts of body language. So the tone of the voice is really, really, really important, especially when you're giving like a verbal presentation and you don't have a lot of written or visual aids with you. Using your voice is a physical aspect that you can use as a speaker. It is therefore also a part of your body language. Usually the tone of your speaker's voice is seen in their facial expressions. Similar to facial expressions, proper use of tones could convey the right meaning of your speech to the audience. For public speaking, using a powerful and loud voice is really not necessary in all cases. In fact, there are some speeches when a powerful and loud voice should not be used. For example, a speech at a funeral or a eulogy. Giving different tones to what you're saying can make a huge difference. To get the experience yourself, try saying something like hello or how are you, or in different tones, happy, sad, angry, relaxed, soft, and loud, and see kind of what the meaning changes. So I'm gonna have everyone make sure that they're muted and just kind of practice that. Practice saying like a simple greeting in a couple of different tones. Hi, Lily. So what we're doing right now is we're just we're practicing our tone of voice. So we're saying like hello or how are you in different tones of voice.
Okay. I
So
know I
we're-
just can change a place because my mother needs to use the living room, so I come upstairs.
All right. So I just had everyone mute themselves, and we're going to try this out. Well, it looks like everyone's just staring at their screen.
Yeah, you can show them how to do it.
So, yeah, we can practice. So you could say we'll practice like saying hello. So it seems like it'd be a little bit silly, but getting your your tone of voice right is really important. So if you're gonna say hello, you'd be like, hello, hi, how are you doing? Like your voice is raised a little bit, you have a little more excited, you say it kind of faster versus like, hello, how's it going? As sad. And you guys really saw the difference, even though I said the same thing, it makes a difference in how you say it. So, you know, like in public speaking, how you say words is really important. You know, going back to an example that it gave in the lesson, you wouldn't want to use like a powerful voice during a eulogy, like something like. I don't want to actually. There's people near here. I don't want to yell, but you can understand kind of what I'm getting at. Or if you're if you're in the classroom and you're talking to your students, you wouldn't want to be like sad. You go, hey class, how are we doing today? So our next lesson is going to be about derivatives in calculus. That's not going to get them very excited to learn. You know, using the proper tone for the occasion is really important. I actually just remembered that there's a really great lesson about this in my public speaking textbook that I have. So when I get back to my room, I'm going to try to get my textbook, and I'll send some pictures of it to you guys to see what to kind of further explain this idea. So it's also really important that when you're speaking, you can speak clearly and slowly, but not too slow. Talking too fast and not having pauses between words or sentences can make your speech seem rushed. Then if the audience can't keep up, they won't be able to understand what's being said. So a lot of people think that, well, what the text is talking about is that it will make your speech seem like you're going too fast and you're just kind of going through your content without actually explaining anything. But speaking very quickly has another effect, and it makes it seem like you're not prepared. A lot of people will try to cover up the fact that they haven't prepared anything for their speech by using a lot of filler words and speaking very quickly to try to, just cover it up. But everyone can see right through it. When somebody talks quickly and they look nervous, then you can tell that they're not all the way prepared, or they're just not a very good speaker. So next, third, we're going to move on to movement. So usually the stage on the speaker's left side with plenty of space to move around is a good place to go. Taking a few steps to the front or back while changing from one topic to another shows the audience that the speaker is confident and relaxed. However, this is not recommended during small gatherings or professional situations when you're speaking with just a group. I'm actually going to draw an example of this on the board, and it's an example that it's a movement technique that I used to use called the triangle. So if you're on the stage and say that like your audience is right here, this is a bunch of people, and the stage is here and you are starting here. What you want to do is move here first. So you do your first point, then you're going to move here and do your second point, then over here, do your third, and then into the middle. And this is just sort of a way to announce to your audience that you're moving to new points. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to look at this. So you're going to start kind of in the farthest back, move to your left, then to your right, and then into the middle of the triangle, all while keeping eye contact with the audience and facing the audience the whole time. You want to do this in a space of about, each side should be a little less than 1 meter, like 1 or 2 steps. You don't want to look like you're walking around the stage too much. Another strategy that a lot of people like to use is to move across the stage. So what they'll do is when there are, this is really a really popular technique in TED Talks. I'm not sure if you guys are really familiar with those. It's like how familiar you are with TED Talks, but they love to start speaking around here, and then once they're done with their introduction, they'll move to the side of the stage, present something up on like a screen up here, and then once that's done playing, they'll move to the other side. They do this to really block out their speech and to make it so that the audience understands that new points are being made. If they're going to talk about what was on the screen, they stay here. And when they're finished talking about what was played, they're going to move. Movement is probably your most important tool for making sure that your points are separated and that people understand that each point of your argument is different if you don't have a visual aid. If you have like a PowerPoint presentation behind you and you can list out exactly what you're talking about, then it's not as important. You can stay in the same spot. But if it's just you talking to a group of like 10 people or more, you have to move around and you have to punctuate your different points with movement. So we'll practice. You're going to start about back here. And then once you start talking about your second point, you're going to go here. Then you're going to give a good explanation. You're going to make your argument, step over to the side, keep going. And then finally back to the middle to really conclude what you're talking about and give the audience like the wrap up to the speech. So I personally love movement. Oh, I almost forgot. So movement is important, one, for punctuating points, and second, for getting the audience's attention. What you need to do is, if you're up here giving a speech to somebody in the audience and someone in the front row isn't paying attention, take a step towards them. Look right at that person and make eye contact with them to get them to pay attention. This happens to professors in my classes a lot, and it happens when I'm talking in a group pretty often too. Somebody in the front will be on their phone or something, and then if you step towards them, they just almost immediately put it down. It's a psychology thing. So stepping towards somebody and looking right at them is really, really important. And that moves us into our fourth point, which is eye contact. It's been said that eyes are the windows to the soul. Having good contact with your audience shows that the speaker has good authority and shows the speaker's confident, making the audience active participants because now they feel compelled to listen. So you need to make the audience feel that they have a relationship with you, that you're not just the speaker, you're somebody that they trust and that they should listen to. And you need to do this by making eye contact with the audience. Ideally, what you're going to do is kind of move in a Z pattern. So again, getting rid of this example, I wanted the whiteboard in here for a reason. So imagine, again, you're the speaker, you're standing here, and this again is the audience. What you're going to want to do is kind of in your points, you're going to look here, then you're going to look around there, then to the back. So your eyes are going to go in a big, look here forth, in a big Z, English letter Z or Z. And then you kind of return. And you're going to pick somebody usually near the middle as kind of your default. In my experience, a lot of people have trouble making eye contact with strangers, especially during public speaking. So what you'd want to do is look either at their hairline, where their hair starts, or right between their eyebrows. That way, you're not intimidated by having to look into somebody's eyes, but you still give the impression that you're making eye contact with the audience. If you're a speaker who does not make eye contact with the audience, you will not be taken seriously, because it is it lets the audience know that you are afraid of them and that you're nervous and not 100% sure in what you are presenting. So making eye contact and looking straight at the audience or people in the audience is another important piece of body language. So fifth and finally, we have gestures. So gestures are the movement of the hands, arms, body, head, or face that express the speaker's ideas, opinions, or emotions. In our day-to-day activities, we make gestures constantly as we speak. We do this usually unconsciously or subconsciously. However, on stage in front of an audience, carefully considering and mindfully using your gestures can help you with your public speaking skills. So, you may not have been able to see me, you might have been able to, but I personally talk with my hands a lot. I use a lot of gestures in my speech because it's a part of my strategy to try to fill up the room as much as I can. My particular brand of public speaking is more authoritative and not quite intimidating, but I try to make sure that like my presence is known. So I take up a lot of space with my gestures, and I do really big gestures. So when I'm talking, I'm usually doing this, or this, or pointing. That won't work for everybody. Usually a lot of people like to have a lot closer to their body and to talk with both hands. So what we're going to do is just try to do an exercise with your with gestures and while you're talking. So I'm going to have each person read a piece of the lesson, and we're going to practice our gestures with that. So we're going to start back up at number 1, facial expressions, and we're going to have you each read the first 2 sentences and do the gestures with your hands that come along naturally. So let's start out with Doris. Could you read the first sentence, the first 2 sentences of number 1, facial expressions, and just do whatever comes naturally?
Okay. Let us start with one of the most basic techniques used for body language. The audience members depend on your facial expressions to understand the meaning of what you're speaking about, which can make their understanding easier and better.
Good. I really liked how you read that. It flowed very well, and I think that you used tone of voice and being able to pause between words really well. I thought that's really impressive. For everyone else, if you can you tilt your cameras down a little bit so we can see kind of what your arms and your hands are doing? I'm not sure if everyone's going to move their hands around as much as I am. I do it a lot. I get comments about it all the time from my friends that I always talk with my hands. But being able to use gestures while you're talking to like punctuate an argument, like if you're going to make an important point. So something like I would say in this lesson is eye contact is a really important part of public speaking. So between your words, at the end of your word, you're going to like point or do something that just punctuates it and makes it seem really important. Next, we'll go to Amy and have you read from facial expressions as well, and start with the word as. So as in the previous example.
Okay. As in the previous example, Bob's facial expression played a vital role for anyone to understand what he was truly meaning.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for reading for us. I thought you did a great job, and you did a really good job getting your gestures. One gesture that we really want to avoid is something like this. You don't want to put your hands together in front of your chest like this. It makes you look a little bit nervous. If you're going to put your hands together, you're going to want to do it kind of at your waist level, or really try to avoid doing it at all. Next, could we have Andrea start where Amy left off?
When he said that he was having a good day with the sad facial expression, it actually meant that he was not having a good day.
Good. Yeah, that was really good. I liked how you emphasized the word sad when it was in bold, and the word not. It shows really good understanding of being able to use your tone of voice, and you got your gestures in to punctuate your points. So good job, Andrea. Sorry, I'm feeling a little bit sick, but we can keep going. Can't infect any of you guys over the computer. So we'll start. Claire, would you start at the first sentence of number 2, tone of voice?
Using your voice is a physical aspect that you can use as a speaker, and therefore it is also part of body language.
Good. I really liked your use of head movement in your while you're talking. That is an underrated part of gestures, and I didn't actually cover that, so I liked what you did. Next, Trista, would you like to take the next sentence of tone of voice?
This seems to have trouble with her microphone today.
Yeah. I'll let you get that figured out, and we will go to the Amy who hasn't talked yet to read that next sentence. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Usually, the tone of the speaker's voice is seen in their facial experience.
Oh, yeah, good job. The word is expressions, but it's kind of a long one, and it's a little hard to read or pronounce sometimes, even for me. So, you still did a good job, and I liked how you were, moving your hands around. Good work, Amy. And Lily, would you like to take the next sentence?
Similar to facial expression, proper use of tones can convey the right meaning of your speech to the audience.
Excellent work. Yeah, that's almost exactly how I would have done that. Lily, I can tell that you're a person who likes to use bigger gestures like me. So I really liked how you did that. So that's it for the lesson that we have written down. So now I'd like to take your questions if you have any. That's all right.
I have a question.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of practice opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you create practice opportunities for yourself? Because not everybody is invited to give a speech in front of a lot of people. But I think the more you practice, the better you get. So how do you create opportunities for yourself?
What I personally like to do is to just try to talk at every big event that I get invited to. It's not always a formal speech, and it's not always an event where there is a speech given. But what if it's a meeting of my class, if it's a meeting of my rugby team or my fraternity, I always try to give my input into the situation. So I want you guys to try that at like your next meeting that you have, is try to say something to the group about what you think should be done, or like what your experience. Just if you try to speak at all of those instances, then you'll be a much more practiced public speaker.
And do you always make notes before you speak? You come up with something before you talk?
Sometimes. So I got most of my practice speaking from notes, but like when I was in debate and I was doing that in high school. But then later on in my competition, the use of notes was discouraged. So what I would do is I would make notes and then look at them and then just like set them down and then go give my speech without using the notes. So preparing your thoughts and writing them out beforehand is really important. But you want to try to get to the point where you don't need to have those thoughts with you and you can just keep them in your head. Oh, excuse me. All right. So what we're going to do next time is we're going to go over the body language worksheet, and then we're going to do two things. So I'm gonna write up a lesson about persuasive public speaking and how to best construct an argument. And then we're also going to do lesson 4, which is overcoming stage fright. That's a little bit shorter of a lesson. And I'm going to try to make a lesson that's about 15 or 20 minutes about persuasive public speaking. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes, yes.
Great.
Thank you so much. I hope you get well soon.
Yeah. Actually, you know what we're going to do? I am going to have to talk to my rugby coach before I can commit to that, because I learned today that we are going to a championship tournament that is 5 hours away. So I'm going to have to, I'll see if I'll be able to do our lesson, but we might have to do another video of lesson 4, and then we can come back and do the persuasive speaking lesson with lesson 5. So
Okay.
it's up in the air right now. I'm gonna have to talk to my coach about making sure that I have time. I think I will, but before I can tell you guys 100%.
Okay, okay. Just let us know. No problem.
I will. All right. That's about all our time. We've got 2 minutes left. So I'll see you guys next week.
See you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.